Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Life in the Jungle, Season 1, Episode 18. And it's your boy, Coach Kam. I have the Pharaoh with me, and it's a beautiful Monday. It's not your ordinary, you know, uh, winning Monday. Cincinnati is what they're calling us. Um, but Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals uh, have clinched the AFC North by winning 34-31 on an Evan McPherson field goal. But by the way, I got down to a T. Now, if you remember, I believe Pharaoh got week one down to a
Yes.
T. And what better way to predict the first win exactly correct and the AFC North clinching victory. Exactly correct. As I call it, 37-34 win. I mean, excuse me, 34-31 win with an Evan McPherson field goal. Now, this was an exciting game. Now, you come out and you're instantly down 14 to zip. You're like, oh, Lord, we done spotted Mahomes 14 points. That's my thinking. But I never thought we was out of the game. I know people was texting me like, "Oh man, here we go. We in trouble. We gonna have to go to Cleveland and get it." And blah blah blah. I said, I got a feeling this game ain't over. I said they made their flurry early, but I said it's early enough for us to get going. And that's what happened, for first half we couldn't get a stop. Second half we showed up, but I'm not gonna get too deep into it. I'm gonna let you go first. First of all, I'm gonna ask you, how does it feel to be an AFC North champion on this Monday, good sir?
Ah, well, luckily I'm old enough to remember the last time the Bengals won an AFC North title in 2015. So it feels the same. It feels glorious. There's a little different edge to this one. I guess you could attribute that to one young Joe Burrow being at the helm, but we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah.
But no, just ecstatic for the guys. First of all, they've been through a lot the past few years. Transition to coaches, Zach trying to get his feet wet. Some of the seasons that we posted even before he got here. It's been a long time for guys like Tyler Boyd, who this is the first time he's tasted success here as a Cincinnati Bengals. So that's where my thoughts go to first, and then immediately to us as the fans. Obviously, uh, boy, do we deserve it. Ready, happy, excited, and hopefully this is just the beginning because we do have some more things that we'd love to see them accomplish.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it feels so good to watch a team that, you can go down 14-0 to the defending AFC champions and we don't blink an eye. We stay the course. We make some key adjustments at halftime, holding Mahomes to 50 yards passing and three points by the Chiefs in the second half really was a huge factor in the comeback. And
Now you don't want to make a habit of that though,
no,
especially as we get to the postseason. And not to cut you off, but I'm so excited I had to get this out for all of you Panay Sewell heads out there who who wanted the Bengals to draft Panay Sewell instead of young Uno Jamar Chase and watch him hit that gritty. How do you feel now?
well, if you don't know, he's talking to himself, audience, because if you don't know, if you haven't been a fan since the beginning of this show, Mr. I am Pharaoh here was a huge, huge Panesa. Oh, we're committing malpractice. We done already seen Joe mess up his knee. Now you go out and just totally neglect the line. And don't get me wrong, we can still use some help on the line. We've discussed that. We know that. Hey, you could both be correct. You can say Jamar Chase is the right pick, and you can also say that we did not do enough on the offensive line in free agency. That those both things could
Yeah,
be correct. But
definitely.
as I said,
Yes.
Uno was a special talent. I said he was a generational talent. You ain't want to believe me. I said, bro, I said, trust me. I said, he at least he go get you 1,200, 8 touchdowns. You said, oh my God, no, are you kidding me? He is crushed that. Got 1,400 plus yards with 13 touchdowns. That connection has really helped what we do lack on the offensive line. And that combo I'm looking forward to for the next decade.
As are all Bengals fans. But when I made those predictions, I tend to go with the football norms and practices of building championship teams with my ideology and the way that I think. And that was the only reason that I really was leaning towards that because, as you said, it's possible for more than one thing to be true at the same time. And nobody can doubt the impact that Jamar Chase has had. But I'm sorry, I guess you saw something initially where you thought he would come in and right away do that. Not a lot of wide receivers do. You saw earlier in the year he was on pace breaking some of Anquan Bolden's rookie records that had been in effect since 2003. Now he's passing one of the only other rookie phenoms that you've seen in Randy Moss, as far as output. It's special to watch. So, I had to eat a little humble pie and get that out of the way early so we can move on from
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. But like I said, we're happy about the pick. Obviously, we have Jamar Chase. We have someone special for the next 10 years. Um, another big play in that game that not enough people is talking about, and some people are, is your boy Von Bell knocking that ball out of Tyreek Hill hand before halftime when Patrick Mahomes threw that bomb. That could have been dangerous right there. However, he was able to get punch that ball out, and that was a key stop, before the half, because that could have been led to more points, which could have made the comeback a little bit harder than what it was.
Well, we spoke on that a little bit last week, how valuable Von Bell has been throughout the season with just being Johnny on the spot, keeping everything in front of him, always stripping and going after the ball, trying to bat balls down, trying to cause fumbles, rip the ball out. So he's just a heady player that, always seems to be giving that extra effort that turns into extra opportunities. And you've seen it in the last couple of weeks with the interception and big, pass batted down, as you just mentioned. So, he's just doing what he's been doing, going back to his days in college when he was a first team All American at a certain state university that, we happen to live in here in the great state of Ohio, but, we won't spend too much time on that. So, hats off to Von Bell.
Yeah, yeah, that was a big play, and we're gonna get to some of these comments here. We got Kenny Fudge, Day One Watcher in the house. Says AFC North champions. Who they, brother? Chris is in the building tonight. What's up, Chris?
Oh,
Uh,
wait, before you move on. The title of this episode and the teaser song that I put in the story feed is a shout out to Chris because he adopted that after the Bengals beat the Steelers. He said he was playing that song the whole time
yeah,
afterwards.
yeah, too sexy. So he was playing that song the whole time afterwards. So Chris, that was for you. Uh, definitely, that was a good catch there because I do remember him saying that. So yeah, we definitely was grooving yesterday. Corey Brooker, Joey B is a warrior. Absolutely, this is why you get him number one. It's that simple. He's a warrior. He's a gamer. He's a winner. He just has one of those mentalities that just refuse to lose. And I love it. I love it because I've never seen that in my lifetime anyway. I've heard Boomer was that, and Kenny was that, but unfortunately, in my lifetime, we had Palmer who could have been great, barring the injury, and some other things. Dalton was that guy that was just heady steady. He wasn't necessarily he wasn't gonna lose you the game at all. But if you needed in big time moments for him to go get one. That was one of his shortcomings. But with Joe Burrow, I just think it don't matter who on the other side of that field, and we
Oh,
talked
it
about it
matters,
earlier.
and that's what I like about it. It definitely matters
Yeah,
because he's
explain what you were saying earlier, because you're right. It does matter.
yeah. Well, what I was saying is it goes back to the headiness, the moxie, the competitiveness that you see in Joe Burrow, the intangibles in particular that even I at the time recognized. I said, well, I know he's got that going for him. Did I see him coming out being the quarterback that he is right now and already in year two? No, but nobody is displeased with the work that Joey Franchise, as I call him, is putting out there right now. But what we mean in particular by that is he's a gamer. And when he looks across the field, he's not scared of the other quarterback over there and how much cachet he's bringing, whether it's an Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes or Big Ben, whoever. In fact, Joey B is the one type of player that actually hypes him up, and he wants to outdo that
Hmm.
person, and it brings his game up even more to a level that sometimes the other guy is not able to match because he just has that competitiveness, almost that Michael Jordan, Tom Brady s. It's almost like it's an issue how competitive this man is.
Yes, yes, yes. And just to get on that, and I'll get to the other comments because this one ties in to what you were just talking about there. So, worst thing about this team, our QB think he's a linebacker. Best thing about this team is our QB thinks he's a linebacker. It's contagious. Those guys are adapting that personality in yesterday's show, and this is exactly what it is. They follow his lead, and they know he gonna go all out, so they inspired to go all out. And like Corey said, it's contagious, and it's something we haven't had here in a very very long time. Let's see here. We have new guest Jordan Henry says who they coach who they. Uh, like I said, it's a great day. It's just a great day to be a Bengals fan because we endured a lot. We endured a lot these last 2 or 3 years. Uh, we seen a coach that was here for 16 years get let go. Then we go into Zach Taylor, where the roster is kind of a mess. um, we win 2 games. We went through a season hoping that we would lose games to get a number 1 pick. Uh, did that, got Joe Burrow, thought he was our savior. He gets injured. We're heartbroken again. And to come back, and remember, he just took his first steps probably 370 days ago, 300, 70, 75 days ago, and now he's leading the Bengals to the AFC North Championship. It's truly, truly, truly amazing what he's doing for this city and for this organization.
He's completely transformed what we have downtown at Paul Brown Stadium. There's a different energy. I've seen a lot of teams over my time as a Bengals fan, going back over 30 plus years of footage. And I don't know, and this is not being caught up in the moment because, I pride myself on not doing that. But I
Oh,
don't know.
by the way, I'm not to cut you off. He always, man, I'll give him that. He don't get caught up in the moment, y'all, because he always tells me, "Cam, here you go. You're getting caught up in the moment again. You're getting." I'm like, man, come let me have my fun, man.
Drinking that Kool Aid, setting yourself up for heartbreak. But no, in all seriousness, I don't know that I've ever seen a Bengals team that has the type of togetherness that this team plays with and camaraderie that you can tell extends into the locker room. And it's why you're getting a lot of the effort that you're seeing on the field on game days because these guys truly do enjoy being around one another. They truly enjoy playing for one another. And, I'll go on and admit and, eat a little crow. Does seem that they enjoy playing for one Zach Taylor also. And you have to give some credit to him, who he definitely learned on the fly as the first time head coach the first 2 years. There have been games this year where there's still been some head scratchers as far as decision making and decisions, but
Hmm.
he's growing. He's learning his way. He's learning how to incorporate all three of those monsters we have at wide receiver and Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, and T. Higgins. He's also not forgetting about Joe Dean in the backfield, Joe Mixon, and keeping defenses honest with still feeding him. I think he's getting better with play calling, but hey, as Lee Corso once said, sometimes it's not about the X's and O's, it's about the Jimmys and Joes. And we have enough guys to make plays, more than enough now, where we can cause a problem for anybody on any given Sunday.
Absolutely, absolutely. We got my guy the honcho from Twitter, big Bengals fan. What's going on? He tuning in. I appreciate that. I got my guy Kenton. I can't pull it up right now, but he said, "What's good, fellas? What's going on?" I appreciate. Here we go. Appreciate you watching, brother. Always. And I got a question for you. And before I do that, like you said, about Coach Taylor, man, and I said I was gonna do this off the record, so I have to do it before I ask you this question. I want to give Coach Zach Taylor his flowers. I want to be fair to Zach Taylor. I can sit up here and I can admit when, I am incorrect. That's what we do here on Life in the Jungle.
So
I'm
what
not
were
saying
you
he's
incorrect about?
I'm not saying he's a perfect coach. I'm not saying that at all. But one thing I can say is it was maybe it was ugly how we got there because of the first 2 years, but he did the exact thing Marvin Lewis did. He turned this team around, and in year 3, with his quarterback, got to the playoffs and won the division. Uh, Now the end of the game, I understand people was talking about, you don't do quarterback sneaks with Joe. I get that. I understand that. But these last 2 games have been masterful for us play calling wise. Masterful. I can't say anything negative about them. I mean, anytime your quarterback throw for 446 yards, obviously you got the playmakers and the quarterback to do so. Um, but like that Jamar Chase, down the sideline, that play was wide open. Like so, it was designed to where we can get our athletes one on one. Um, and it's been like
Well,
that the last 2 weeks. And this
well,
was a defense.
also, yeah, and also I wanted to point out though, when you're playing a team like Kansas City, you kind of have to keep pace, don't you? So he had to open up the playbook and call some stuff to get us back in the game from the start after going down 14. And I do want to point out, I got my second mother in the house, Miss Mama Carol. If you could pull up that comment.
Let's see. The Mama Carol. Let's see. Oh, I see that. This is a good question. Should the Bengals rest Burrow? The Cleveland game. Does the Cleveland game play any part in our postseason schedule? Thank you for commenting, Miss Lawrence. We appreciate you.
Well, that's a question that has a couple different levels, to it. So it's a bit of a loaded question. Now, Cleveland has been eliminated from the playoffs, so I don't know what type of team we'll see from them. They have some injuries even on their side with Baker Mayfield, where they could elect to sit it out. It really depends on what Zach Taylor's philosophy is, which we don't know because we've never, been in the playoffs previously or in contention under the Zach Taylor regime. And from a competitive standpoint, he may not let those plans out. But as far as what I'd be looking to do, I'm kind of old school in the sense of where Marvin got towards the end of his thing when we were in that 5 year playoff window. I don't like interruptions to schedule. I will go ahead and treat this like a normal game. See if you can get up on them and then pull your starters at a certain point. I know Joe was a little gimpy on the opposite knee to end that game, but we will be playing more than likely a wild card game, first round of the playoffs. So you still want guys to be in rhythm, but it depends on what Zach's philosophy is in this scenario, which we'll see. So Cam, what do you think about resting starters or Joe in particular in the last week?
Man, I Yeah, it's give and take for me. I feel like if Kansas City wins Saturday night, you rest the players. I want to go in there fully healthy as possible. Now, if you want to keep them in the routine and keep them, kind of in a flow, and you want to play them 1 or 2 series, okay, that's fine. Treat it like a fourth preseason game. 1 series, 2 series, regardless of what you do, get my key players out of there. Like, because I just feel like I understand going to a 2 seed, you possibly set yourself up for 2 games at home. So I understand that going for that. But if Kansas City wins on Saturday night, you gotta sit them, man. I'm not interested in playing any of them really. I'm not pressed because I just feel like it's Cleveland. They got nothing to lose. They might take a little shot at Joe or something. I ain't got
Yeah,
time for it. So I'm going with just sit the players. We can win the division. We going to the playoffs. We either gonna be the 3 or the 4. Let's roll.
and to piggyback off of that, I know that the Titans, I believe, are playing. Is it Houston
Yeah.
in the final week? Um, Even if Tennessee sits their starters, I don't necessarily see them lose that. And Kansas City, their final game was against who?
The Broncos.
The Broncos. Another situation
They're
where
dead. Yeah, they don't have nothing to play for.
so I don't know that they, really have a great opportunity of either of those teams losing, which would be the only advantage to Cincinnati playing their starters and keeping them in there, possibly moving up to a 2. I mean, if both teams lose, you had a possibility of still ending up in that one spot, if I'm not mistaken, and getting the first round bye. So it just depends. But, I definitely wouldn't risk Joey franchise at this point too late into the game. Have to think about past instances, even though you don't want to here in Cincinnati, and
Hmm.
you don't want any of that old Aju or what ifs or. And listen, as great a season as he had, if Joe B was to go down in this last game, um, yeah, I don't know that Zach would survive the media onslaught and fan hatred that would arise from that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Let's get to some of these comments here. Let's see. We'll get here. Say, gotta sit Burrow. Regardless, if Burrow is right, don't matter who's in front of you or what the path is. That's my boy Honcho. Um, I agree with that. And we've played good on the road. We've been solid on the road this season. So going on the road isn't. It's just with Joey B. I just feel like we could go anywhere, face anybody, and possibly win that football game. Defense give us enough stops. I think I just that's just what I feel. We got let's see here. We got AI LeBron says rest up and prep for the playoffs. I can't argue with that. I really can't argue with that. I just like to take the safe approach. I'd rather go into the postseason with the home game fully healthy as possible. If anybody got any nicks, can rest those. Because this city will erupt off of one playoff win.
Yes,
We
they
just
will.
need one playoff win, and this city will erupt. And I'm waiting on it to erupt because we deserve it, and I just feel it. Like I just feel that this is different. I feel the way we are built is different. Um, and we just got players that they aren't used to losing. We got players that don't know any better. They don't know about no Cincinnati losing culture. They like we about to turn it up. Like
Exactly.
and I like it. I love it.
Well, I love it because you see, I still have that pain in my heart as most Bengals fans from the 2015 season when the Bengals obviously were 12-4 and had that crazy ending to the 2015 wild card. game against the Steelers. That's a bad taste in my mouth that I won out. And I still remember how CBS even brought the broadcast on. Because Cam, I get into those little minute details and stuff like that, and they're playing the whole Vanilla Ice in the background, and they're saying the last time the Bengals won a playoff game, and they've got Boomer running into the end zone holding the ball up, and it says Home Alone was the #1 movie in America. George Bush was president, the first George Bush. Vanilla Ice, Ice, Ice Baby was the #1 song. Does the streak end today? And I had that same feeling then. I said, yeah, it ends today. But you know what? I kind of changed my tune now. I want them to sit Joe Burrow because we have to remember what the scenario was even going back then in 2015. We had a backup quarterback in A.J. McCarron at the helm because starter Andy Dalton got injured earlier in the year and broke his thumb. And if you can avoid any injuries and have your full onslaught of weapons available going into the playoffs, you're right. Joey B gives you a chance to win any game.
Excuse me, absolutely. And I mean, I didn't think it'll happen this quick. Like we're a year early. This is the good part. We are a year early, so that gives us longer within Burrow's rookie window to build this roster, and to make sure the next step is to make sure we're protecting, because at the end of the day, we smiling now. We're 10-6, we're AFC North champs. Um, but Joe Burrow got sacked 51 times this season. Um, and that's why I said early in the show it could be correct that we are both correct. We did not do enough on the offensive line, and Jamar Chase was the pick of the draft. Um,
Got to
we ha-
protect Joey B
gotta
though.
protect him.
At the end of the day, he is the reason, and there have been a lot of guys that contributed. So it is a team effort. Zach has made adjustments this year to put us in better position to win. But that's why I call him Joey Franchise. The same reason everybody else does. You're gonna go as far as the right arm of Joe Burrow takes you, and his leadership in the locker room and what he's done for this organization and this town and this city, in general. So that has to be the thinking going into this final week to make sure that he's taken care of, he can rest up, and they may not need him. And I don't know if Miles Garrett and Davion Clowney are playing or not, but like you said, my football brain, I can flash back to the end of the 85, season, seeing highlights of that where the Bears were poised to make a second run at a second Super Bowl in a row, and guy comes up and cheap shots Jim McMahon after the play, slings him down, separates his shoulder. So you never know what can happen, but that's why you have to go for the gusto while you have it. Dan Marino made the Super Bowl his rookie year and never made it back. So you want to have all chips on deck when you are in position to make a deep run, possibly, and get some noise accomplished here in the playoffs. So protect Joey B. Let's go into this thing all the way healthy and let the chips fall where they may.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what now? The next thing I wanted to mention here uh, is who, since we're in the playoffs now, we can talk playoff talk. That's a good thing. Because normally we'll talk. Maybe talk about the next week opponent. Who cares? Who cares? We're the AFC North champs, and you know what? Once again, Bengals fans, don't let nobody try to steal your joy. We are all year. It's let's see. They eventually fold. They the Bengals. Now it's can y'all win a playoff game? Well, now we can talk about it. We can for sure talk about that now. We can talk about if we could win a playoff game. I just
And
feel like with Joe
Pharaoh
Burrow, we can.
will, yeah, and Pharaoh will actually be there.
Yeah,
Guarantee in the
yeah,
mix. I would have got my tickets today, so I will be in the house for this joyous moment to try to will them to that first playoff victory since '91.
yeah. And currently, right now, I'm not gonna lie. I have not got my ticket, but I will. I will figure out a way to be there, of course. But uh, question for you, um, Pharaoh. What do you think, or who do you think is the best matchup for the Cincinnati Bengals in the playoffs? Who would you like to see in round one? Preferably. Everybody's good when you make it to the playoffs, so it's not really. But who you think we will match up with the best?
Yeah, I'm going to give a Joe Burrow as answer of what I believe he would say in this scenario or when asked this question. Something Dan Orlovsky spoke to earlier on ESPN. I think the Cincinnati Bengals match up with anybody. I see, we had one of our viewers say the Chargers. There's no team in the AFC that I don't think they match up well with. Now, obviously, if you do make it to the divisional round or potentially AFC Championship, my little concern about going to Arrowhead Stadium in a rematch with the Chiefs being pissed off after we beat them by 3, possibly. But again, that's down the line. But in the first round, um, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the Chargers, because I do believe turnovers played a big part in us not being able to get that victory. I do think that
Mhm.
was a winnable game. Joey
And
B.
Jamar Chase had one
He had a
a
very
touchdown
dubious
that
very dubious one where it was right in his hands and he basically hot potatoed it up in there to the defender to take the other way. I think Joe wants to compete against Justin Herbert again, who he's constantly being prepared to. Uh, but I mean, there's nobody in particular. I'm looking at like, well, man, if we get this team, now there is one team that I would be concerned about them getting in the first round, depending on how things shape out, and that is the New England Patriots.
yes, Lord, I do not want to face Dean.
Not because I'm worried about even their talent level or anything like that, especially skill position wise. But yeah, see, Cam was pointing up here. That middle matchup. Do I want Zach Taylor's first playoff game to be against the mad scientist known as Bill Belichick? Not at all.
Yep, yep. Yeah, I would definitely want to stay away. I mean, like I said, James Summers here says anybody could get it. I got that mentality too. I just don't want that to be his first test. I don't want that to be Zach or Burrow's first test, for that matter. Because one thing about Bill Belichick is they never gonna let the first option beat you. So they will do everything in their power to not let Udo Gritty, uh, in that game. Um, I would like to see. There's two teams I would like to see. I would like to see a lot of people saying they don't want to see the Colts. I'll take the Colts. I'll take the Colts just because we are decent against the run, and it's not like we're playing a Patrick Mahomes where we're gonna play 7 in the box. At times, I even saw 6 in the box. Like we're not gonna play like that.
Right.
Force Carson Wentz in the 3rd and 6s, 3rd and 7s, and let him beat you. I'm living with that. I'm living with that. I think if we can neutralize Jonathan Taylor, which is a tough thing to do with that offensive line because I feel like it's one of the best in football, and they can eat clock and keep Joey B off the field. But I feel like if we could keep Jonathan Taylor and the Colts within 3rd and 6s, 3rd and 7s, Carson Wentz to throw you a few passes that are interceptable, and you got to catch them. Just like I said last week, I said Patrick Mahomes will give you 2 or 3 balls that you can pick, and he gave us 2, and we didn't get them.
I was gonna say we didn't do a great job of executing.
We didn't execute it, but he gave us those balls. And that's another thing I think Carson Wentz will do. I would like to see the Colts. I don't want to see the Patriots at all. I agree with Pharaoh there. I don't want to, not because we're better than them on paper, but like I said, he'll scheme up something that perhaps Joe ain't never seen before. Because that's what Bill Belichick does. Um, but all in all, man, I'll take anybody. Bring it on. Uh, I'll take it. Um, But one thing I will say is I love the interaction in the locker room. I know I posted a little bit yesterday, my story, but I just love the interaction of this team. It's the tightest team that I've seen, far as I can remember, far as the Marvin era, um, all the way up to now. Um, it's just good to see they really pull for each other. We got a couple questions here. We got A. LeBron says, question: do we keep deferring or put our offense on the field first? I can answer that. Well, I'll let you go. I'll let you go answer that.
I think that depends on the opponent too, but that's an overall philosophy of the coach. I do like the idea of getting the ball coming out of halftime when you defer, initially, because if you're up, that gives you a chance to still put, some more distance between you and your opponent. If you're down, it gives you the opportunity, obviously, to carve into that. So I think it's situational. I think it depends on the matchup. But I could also go for seeing the Bengals take the ball right away, march downfield, stick it right in there, set the tone from day one. The jungle, is on fire at that point, and it becomes an unwinnable situation for whoever we're playing. So, I think they'll let situation, dictate that. But I don't mind getting the ball coming out of halftime.
Yeah, I say we keep deferring. It's just like it helped us this game. We had to kick the field goal, go down 11. We come down right away, get a touchdown. So it really helped us get back in that game. And like you said, if you up, you can create some more distance, eat clock in the beginning of the third quarter. So I agree with just keep deferring, put the defense out there because if you get a stop, it's almost like you're getting the ball first anyway. So um, that was a good question there. We got another good one here from my boy Donnie White. It said, "Are you concerned? Excuse me. Are you concerned with the run defense and our ability to stop the run consistently? Gotta hope we do better as it only gets colder and strategically better. To have that as your offensive focal point." With the run defense, I'm not concerned with the run defense. Last week against the week before that against Baltimore, we did good against the run. This week it was more designed that way. The defense was tailored towards that. We were going to give them some big running plays just by the way that we were literally sometimes like I said having six in the box, or seven at the most. We weren't having eight in the box. We was so the defense wasn't designed to stop the run on on Sunday. So no, I'm not concerned about the run because we're a pretty good run stopping team. We got Ogunjobi, Reader up front. Big BJ Hill. All these guys. That rotate in and out. So I'm not too worried about them stopping the run. Uh, and I do hope we can run it a little better than what we did Sunday. But like I said, it was cold Sunday. But you know what? This is the time where your quarterback have to kind of take over these games and win you these football games, unless you have someone like a Derrick Henry, that is just out of this world, or Jonathan Taylor. We have Mixon, but when you have a special talent like Joe Burrow, you got to put it in his hands and have him try to win it for you.
Well, and I believe and have always stated that Joe Mixon, in my opinion, is a top five running back in this league. Also, that we have on our team, especially talent and versatility, wise. But as far as us stopping the run, not really concerned for a couple reasons because Kansas City really didn't run it all that well against us either. Most teams haven't, with the exception of maybe Green Bay and obviously the Cleveland game. The first go round. Where Nick Chubb gave it to us pretty good, on the ground. But this defense does a good job of gap control, guys flowing to the ball, everybody doing their assignment. Depends on the matchup, whether you be concerned, like if you do get a Colts out of the gate, like somebody with Jonathan Taylor, but also on the plus side, we got Logan Wilson back last week. Bengals leading tackler at linebacker. Jermaine Pratt hopefully will be back off of the COVID list, so you have your full linebacking room back.
Hmm.
to help play against the run, which is
Yep.
another reason why I'm not concerned right
Yep, yep, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. My boy Honcho says, ask a question. What role do expect mixing to play in the playoffs? As a kid, I was told that cold weather playoff was about strong running game and defense, but the league has changed. Hey, that hasn't really changed. That's the thing about football. When it gets cold, it goes back to the fundamental: who can block the best, who can tackle the best. That part of football will never change. Um, however, with the run game, Mixon's going to play a big part. He's going to play a big part in what they do. And yesterday, listen, he didn't maybe have the yards rushing, but he also contributed with 7 catches for 40 yards, as well. So we're starting to use him in other ways to at least get him touches and to get him involved in the ball game because he's someone that can, take 1 yard and make it 6 or 7 with his ability. Um, Now, hey, I just feel like we can match up with anybody. I feel like we could play with anybody. Um, you know, so moving forward here, we do have Cleveland Sunday.
now.
We do have Cleveland Sunday. What do you think? I mean, what are you expecting? I mean, are you kind of, for me? I'm expecting almost kind of a letdown in a sense, for not as far as like I just feel like they're not gonna be up for this one, and that's why I really want them to sit. Cause I just like you just coming off an AFC North victory. What is there? Maybe a seed up if Kansas City loses. There's not much to gain.
It's not much the game, although, like you said, that could turn into two home playoff games instead of one. But you know, I don't know because it depends on the mindset of the guys and where they're at mentally and what the approach is. And that's why I mentioned earlier, we don't know what Zach's approach to this scenario has been yet because this is the first time that he's been in it. And I don't know from a competitive standpoint if they'll release that early enough in the week. But, I just want everybody to be, healthy come playoff time. That's what I care about. I remember back in 2014 when the Bengals made it and we had to go on the road to play the Colts and there were so many injuries across the board. There was no Jermaine Gresham. There was no AJ Green, no Marvin Jones. I don't even think Mohamed Sanu was in that game either. Like we had to put Rex Burkhead, a running back, out at wide receiver, and just going into that game knowing that you weren't, full throttle, really put a damper on things, and that turned out to be, the difference. So I wouldn't call it a letdown, and that's why I was saying maybe let your starters play a little bit, couple drives. Definitely if things start getting hairy or out of hand, go ahead and pull them out. But I remember the Bengals tried that approach before, if you remember back in the day, against Kansas City and against the Jets. And
Yeah,
then we turned around and pulled our starters after things started to get bad. And I felt that did the opposite. I felt like that, instilled maybe some negative thoughts, especially when you had to turn around and play that team again, the very next week, and that gave them confidence and the momentum, even though they had to come here. So I think you have to have a read on your football team. It obviously doesn't have the same level of importance that it would have if both of us were still fighting for the division or to get into the playoffs. But who's to say Cleveland even gives a damn at this point? I just don't want to hear Cleveland Brown fans who have become completely ridiculous over the past year since they made their first playoffs last year in over 20 years and actually won against the Steelers. So I would prefer not to have to deal with another offseason of Browns fans losing their minds because they swept us. But we do have bigger fish to fry that we need to be thinking about currently.
yeah, I'm not worried about them. Honestly, sweeping us, they're done. They have issues of their own where they need to figure out their quarterback situation. So you
Can't
can have
blame OBJ anymore.
right. That's what I say. You can have everything in the world, but if you don't have a quarterback, you're not winning more than 7, 8 games. That's where you at. It just is what it is. Let's see here. We got Henry Cotto in the house. What's going on? What's up? Who they, brother? Let's see here. He asked if the Titans lose and the Chiefs lose and we win, do we get a first round bye? That is correct.
Yes.
Yes, we will get that bye, but it's very unlikely with the Titans, I believe, facing the Jags. Am I mistaken? Or is that correct? Um,
Let's look that up because I know
yeah.
who.
While you look that up, I'll continue the comments here. We got Brandon Allen saying, Brandon Allen force feeding Boyd will be fun to see as a fan, win, lose, or draw. Yeah, because Boyd, I'm not sure what his number at, but we got to try to get him to 1,000. Uh, so they all three can have 1,000 yards.
So the Titans play the Texans
Oh, that's dead.
and the Chiefs play the Broncos.
Well, I will say this: the two teams they're playing, they do have prideful coaches. In Houston is trying to build a culture, and they have played hard with the roster that they had under David Culley. I've gave them credit before, so hey, Houston, play spoiler a little bit, have some fun. It's a divisional opponent. Let it all hang out there before the end of the season. Uh, and the Broncos, they got some defense, so hopefully, they play a little solid defense on Mahomes there. Let's see here. We got Jordan Henry, and I appreciate it. This is Who JJ from Twitter. I appreciate you. Based off the way Coach Taylor has handled injuries and vets, I can't see the starters playing more than two drives, and I agree with that. That'll be good. One, two drives just to keep the flow of playing the game and everything like that, and keeping rhythm. There's no need to do more than that if you're going to play them at all. Let's see here. We also got let's see. Chris Taylor says so. Chase needs 46 yards for the rookie receiving record. As far as yardage, want to break Randy Moss. Do we get it to him?
Depends on how long the starters play.
If he
Not
can't
really,
get it in two series, he ain't getting it.
and that's what I was gonna say. I don't believe in force feeding or necessarily going after records when you already have secured a playoff spot and have bigger fish to fry. Because the worst thing in the world would be for something I don't even want to speak it remotely into the universe or into existence, but something frivolous like that. He's going for a record and pops an Achilles or breaks an ankle or something. We'd all be sitting here
Hmm.
sick.
Yep, and and that's the last thing we will need. So you also we have Miss Lawrence is back. Said, what do you think about that fourth down call to go for 7 points instead of kicking the field goal? I'll let you answer that first.
Well, it was another head scratcher. I mean, anytime you can get a touchdown, though, I still believe field goals are a win for the defense. But when you talk about the closing seconds of the game, it really would have been nice. I think I heard because I was obviously watching the game, but a lot of people talked about Lapham, on the radio, talking about, man, we can't get a yard to, close this thing out. We got bailed out by a couple penalties at the end of the game for Kansas City getting a little jumpy, grabby, hands to the face. It's this new era of coaching, and that's what they do. John Harbaugh's taking a lot of heat from the Ravens this year for going for it a lot on fourth down, and quite a few times it didn't work out. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. I tend not to put too much energy into those because it's one of those. It's a great call if they make it, and it's a horrible call if they don't. So you kind of just have to live with the outcome. You like the aggression, or that you're in that opportunity for that to be a situation for you to consider, but it worked out for us this time.
Yeah, and Miss Lawrence, I absolutely love the call. I love going for the 7 points. I'm not gonna sit up here and be a hypocrite. I've asked all year to be aggressive. I've said you don't win in today's league with field goals. I've said that over and over and over. So go get the seven. Go snatch the division. Like what you say always on this. If you can't, what Vince Lombardi say?
Great Vince Lombardi. If you can't get a yard, you don't deserve to win the game.
There you go. Boom. We gotta try to get a yard. Now people say we got bailed out. The cause was legit. Hand to the face, he grabbed Tyler Boyd face mask. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? These calls was legit. I mean, it is what it is. Don't grab. You want or grab and hold. They wasn't arguing too much about it. It is what it is.
Oh, they were
Uh,
legit fouls, and trust me, speaking as a Bengals fan perspective, it's not like those calls would have happened if they really didn't occur or they were trying to do us a favor. That type of stuff doesn't happen for the Bengals. They were legit calls. They happened. Got to give it to Joe Mixon for risking life and limb trying to dive in there on
and that
that
would have
fourth
been a
down,
touchdown, by the way, if
which
it
yeah,
wasn't.
I thought he got. And then we had what was that the scenario where the penalties were offsetting? We had one
Offsetting. It was
one of
legit.
yeah. So barring that, he would have got in. I like the aggression. I mean, if you're sitting there at the 1 yard line, I'm sorry, man. You got to go for it now. Getting cute and throwing the ball. That's where my old school football comes in at. I don't think that needed to take place. Don't run no quick slant like Russell Wilson and the Seahawks did in that Super Bowl all those years ago. But we really were getting stuffed at the line of scrimmage, and we talked about
That's
that
yeah, that's
off
what I'm
the
saying.
record.
I don't think Zach was like, I'm gonna get cute and throw the ball. We ran it 3 straight times. We quarterback sneaking from the inch, and we couldn't get no push. So Zach like, well, I'm not about to just keep beating the dead horse. Let me try something else, cause apparently we can't get this inch. So I feel him. He was trying to go win it big league style, punch it in. We couldn't punch it in. We couldn't punch it in. And that was pretty
That's
bad there.
that's
But
concerning.
that it hey, now it could create something bigger in the playoffs for 4th and 1 or 4th and inches where we need to get and we can't get it. That would be devastating. But you got your boy Anthony Anderson
Anthony,
says, what do you think of the possibility of a rematch between Burrow and Herbert?
I think it would be good for the NFL. Two of the young guns and the quarterbacks that will be carrying the baton going forward. Along with Patrick Mahomes, or as Trey Wingo would say, the future Hall of Famer known as Patrick Mahomes. There's a new era happening as guys like Big Ben wind it down, and well, I mean, Tom Brady looks like he's gonna play forever, so I can't really put him in that category, but I think it'll be a great, viewership for the NFL and for fans, and honestly, Joe Burrow to get a little revenge because I know he wanted to play well in that first matchup against them, and not that he didn't, but you're not going to win many games that you have 4 turnovers, so it would be a great opportunity for the Bengals to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and that was a game I think Joey Bosa was living in the backfield as well. I was down there, but I would like that rematch, man, on several levels because what I saw was from Herbert was he threw a lot of jump balls, a lot of 50-50 balls, and his players just went up there and went to go get them. Those could have been easily our ball intercepted, batted down. Uh, I didn't see anything that wowed me. I mean, his arm strength did, but outside of that, but he always make that one throw a game, Herbert, that'll make you go like, wow, he make that throw. But far as precision, timing, fitting tight windows, like Joe, I don't see it. I would love to see that matchup again because I think we would beat them. I
I
think we'll
think
beat
we
them.
would. I think we would too, but just to play a little devil's advocate, our DBs haven't gotten any taller, since, we faced off of them because a lot of those 50-50 balls that you spoke to, be it Keenan Allen, be it, Mike Williams, and we talk about some pretty tall targets, for the Chargers being 6'5" and up. So it's still something to think about, but I'm sure Lou has enough game film. Speaking of Lou Amarino, the Bengals defensive coordinator, to kind of put some more pressure on Herbert and prevent us from being in those situations.
Yep, and let's see, we got Donnie White again. Said he with me on the call. Gotta go win the game. Ride with the call. Yeah, and the reason why I say I don't go, I don't want the three there. You kick the three. You give Mahomes 40 seconds. Now,
Woo.
it don't sound like a lot, but it is.
Oh, it is with Patrick Mahomes.
He throw one of them strikes to Hill for 30. All of a sudden, Bucker is
You
like
know,
Justin Tucker esque, far as his far as him being able to kick field goals from a long distance. So anything where you inside the 45 of the opponent, they could possibly get some points.
and I
So I'm
heard,
thinking like, nah, we don't need three.
yeah, and I heard Andy Reid after the game say that he kind of regretted or thought about letting the Bengals score earlier so they can get the ball back because again, they don't need a whole lot of time with Kansas City to
I thought
matriculate
they
on that
would.
field. Yeah,
Yeah, because I was in the house, I was in the crib, and I'm saying like, I'm trying to explain to my girl, I'm like, well, they gonna let them score here, and I said that multiple times, like, they gonna let them score here, uh, so they can get the ball back because they don't have no timeouts, and they gonna try to come down there and score, and they kept stuffing us,
which,
and
by the way, folks, if you don't follow Life in the Jungle page on Facebook and on Spotify, you need to do so. On the Facebook page, there is this I can't explain it any other way, so I have to explain it like this. There's this very cute video of Coach Kam with his dog, Chase, uh, after the Bengals clinched the division title. That very heartwarming that people need to see as well. I want to throw that in there.
yeah, and I'll make sure I'll post that up in the Life in the Jungle page for all y'all to see. Cause I was ecstatic, man. You know, obviously I wanted to be there, but with me not wasn't feeling well. Even though everything turned out well, tested negative, all that stuff. It's just good to practice being safe, regardless, and sit it out. And but yeah, it was a little insight of how much of a fan I truly am, and how happy I was to see us do it the right way, man. We rebuilt the team in 3 years, and we did it the right way. We got pieces, we spent money, we drafted well, we did a mixture of everything, and I'm proud of that because we get it wrong. We have gotten it wrong so many times before, and for us to get it right and to be on the track to not only we can sustain this, not only for just maybe 1 to 2 years, but you talk about maybe 5 to 7 or more because we have a special quarterback and a special receiver and a coach that seems like people want to play for and they like playing for him. That's almost as important as the X's and O's in the NFL today with the egos. Can you manage them? Do these guys like playing for you? And if you have that, and of course, our head coach is the OC, so of course, if he can continue to call nice, good plays, heck, man, anything can happen. Uh,
I like just to finish up on that. I like the fact that we punched our own ticket into the play. We didn't backdoor in.
nope.
We didn't depend on other scenarios, other teams losing. The Bengals went up against the number one seed, the two-time defending AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs, and went toe to toe with one of the other most talented units in the league, and went into the playoffs the right way on their own merit.
Yep, yep, yep. And before we give our game balls and get out of here because we're not going to predict the Cleveland score. We like I said, we really don't even know if the starter's playing or not.
You
So
got another Henry Koto comment, I see.
I see two here. I'll let you go to Henry, yeah, because y'all some Buckeye fans here. Let's see that Von Bell play on Tariq Hill punching the ball out. His hands at the end of the half was huge. That could have switched the momentum of the game. Yeah, definitely. And we see this is the thing. This is the thing about Pharaoh. He act like I didn't comment on that at the beginning of the show. He act like I said I ain't say that was a big play for them not to get another score before the half. So he act like I gave his props. See, and he think I'll be the one throwing little jabs and little. pokes
I
here,
just
some
want
that.
to make sure that we get the majority of our viewers' comments read on here, man. That's
I
all
hear you.
I do.
I hear you. I hear you. Chris said, I did enjoy watching Mahomie play. That game was pivotal in showing our readiness for those teams in the playoffs. Coach and Pharaoh mentioned it before. We don't get up for these games in the history of our team. The team is so young that it's fearless. Speaking of fearless, let's give a shout out to another draft pick, Evan McFearless. Hey, he's been money for us all year. Far as being eight, I believe 9 of 10 of 50+ yard field goals, or 8 or 9 or something of that nature. Just somewhere, it's another weapon. It's another weapon where if you cross the 40, you can get three, and that's
And
it.
And he's shown us already that he can kick in the elements, which was the only question that I had about him because he was the only kicker selected in this past year's draft. But, being a guy that was born and raised in, I believe, Alabama and then went to school, for the University of Florida, I'm like, man, is he going to be able to kick when it gets nasty and AFC North weather outside? But that doesn't seem to phase him either.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. All right, we got game balls to get out, and I'm gonna let you go ahead. Give out the game balls for the AFC North clinching victories. Who you got on offense and defense?
I think it's kind of hard on offense not to go with numero uno.
Yeah.
A complete dominant performance. I believe it was. I quote him a lot because I do like his work that he does, but he brings up some good points too. Dan Orlovsky on ESPN said, "Man, the two most impressive performances over the weekend from a wide receiver were by far the Bengals' Jamar Chase and the uh, Jackson Smith and Jigba's performance in the Rose Bowl over the Utah Utes, setting a bowl record for
Oh
all
wow!
college football. Look, I mean, I'm just reporting the facts here, man, for all of college football history. So I got to go with Uno because they made the mistake of attempting to cover him one on one, and I hope rest of the league was watching, or maybe I hope they weren't watching, because I would love to see some more one-on-one opportunities because you're not going to cover him one-on-one. So Uno gets my game ball on offense, and then I don't know, man. The plague is everywhere. I guess defensively, I have to get that game ball to the former first team All American from the again and Mr. Von Bell, as was brought up, that momentum altering play and being Johnny on the spot as usual was very big. So I'm giving my defensive ball to Mr. Von Bell.
Oh, those are good. You can't argue with that. Uh, obviously, you know, the offensive game ball has to go to Jamar Chase. No other person could really get it. Burrow could have got it obviously, but I gave it to him last week, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Uno this week. Um, this is what we got him for. Games like this, moments like this. And Kansas City, thank you for being idiots. Thank you for manning up all game and being stubborn. That's fine. We'll take that any day of the week. Um, and he dominated. And I believe Ward from Kansas City wanted to break up a pass and do the gritty. Well,
Oh, was that not
two
sweet,
plays
man?
later, he gets Moss, and the real gritty shows up. You know what I mean? So I just love I love it. But he's the offensive game ball for me. And defense, obviously it could be Von Bell, but I'm going a different route here. I'm going Logan Wilson just because he really battled his way back. We thought this was an injury that could have kept him out for the year, and for him to really kind of hustle his way back, and not to say he was full form, but to give us that mind and that IQ. He the one that wears the headset with the the mic in it, so he's the communicator of the defense. So it's very important to get him back out there, and I think that was instrumental as well. Uh, and before and I'll let y'all have y'all fun. Shout out to the homie Isaiah Prince. LOL. All right, look, y'all going too far here.
Well,
But
look, we've had injuries on the offensive line as well. Starting right tackle Riley Reef is out for the entire season, so that right tackle spot, we've tried a few people there. Fred Johnson, Isaiah Prince, they've been doing a good job, a combination of doing that. So we do want to shout out Isaiah Prince, and I won't mention where he went to school at, but he's been doing a great job for the Bengals since coming back active on the roster.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? I'm not even gonna go there. This is it for Life in the Jungle. And before I go, I do want to give congratulations to the University of Cincinnati Bearcats for for a historic season. They finished 13-1. Unfortunately, run into Alabama. There was a couple things that I just didn't like. Far as attacking, far as on the defense, I thought I didn't think we trusted our best players, far as our corners, and that's something we'll discuss here in the following week on the Catitude podcast. So you guys know, we are now under the front office news umbrella for the Catitude podcast, where we'll talk Bearcats, Bearcats football, Bearcats basketball, Bearcats sports in general. Um,
And
and
who?
and yep, and hoop. You know, it's mainly going what we're going to talk about as it's that time of the year.
And Chris
So make sure
Taylor
y'all.
also says, "Rest up, John Madden." Yes,
Yeah.
heartfelt condolences to John Madden and all football fans everywhere, especially of a certain age demographic. I know that man was very instrumental in me falling in love with the game of football. I
Hmm.
can't count how many games he broadcasted and did so in his amazing way. I'm aware of the job that he did as a head coach. He's one of the only people I can ever think of that could have went into the Hall of Fame as a coach, as a broadcaster, or as a contributor with his football game that everybody still plays, to this day. That was all implemented by this man. So rest up easy, Coach John Madden. Job well done.
Yes, sir. I think we'll end on that note there. And that's it. It's Coach Cam. It's the Pharaoh. Hey, when you call us the Bengals, make sure you put AFC North champs in front of it.
What's
We
that?
out.